Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for September 12th, 2024. Well, my goodness, I had said yesterday to watch for a potential whipsaw, but holy moly, talk about a whipsaw. That was quite a move yesterday. How about we take a look at what's happened in the overnight activity and around the world this morning. If we take a look at Asian markets were mostly up. Only Shanghai was a little bit down yesterday, down 0.17%. We saw the Nikkei had a huge upside day, up 3.41% or 1,213 points, reacting to the bullishness here in the United States on the tech sector. And Hong Kong, the tech heavy Hong Kong, is up 0.77 overnight, responding as well. European markets are decidedly bullish this morning, with the DAX up 1.24%, FTSE is up 0.81%, and the CAC is up 0.88%. And they are celebrating a little bit here this morning with that U.S. rally, but also the anticipated ECB rate cut today. If we take a look at Dow futures are also bullish and moving to the upside here this morning. Since I've come in and started the prep for the morning video, and we've got the Dow futures up 0.22%. S&P 500 happens to be up 0.21%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.17%. So moving along here on the bullish side of things as we wait for today's economic data. First off, let's take a look at oil markets here. We had a nice little rebound in oil yesterday as well. It was moving down. There's this oil holders ETF pushing down yesterday pretty substantially and then rallying back up. We're seeing that this morning as well, with oil moving a bit higher this morning. They're up $1.11 a barrel at $68.42. We've got Brent crude this morning looking higher at 1.02. If we look at a producer numbers here, that's also pushing up here just a little bit in those stocks pushing back higher. So Brent looking pretty good as well. Back above 70 at 71.61 a barrel. Natural gas is just marginally higher here this morning. Taking a look at the natural gas ETF here, just kicking up. It started up nicely yesterday, but ended up fading back. Still trying to show a little bit of bullishness here. And I guess the question is, are we going to have enough energy to break through this resistance area here in the chart and potentially hold in this W formation on UNG? If we take a look at cryptos here this morning, cryptos also had a nice little rebound yesterday, pushing back up. They were looking pretty ugly in the morning, pushing back up. This is BITO, the Bitcoin ETFs. But you can see we still got a downtrend going on here in this. And unfortunately, still a lot of struggle, a lot of price resistance that this stock is going to have to get through in the chart of that ETF, I should say. But Bitcoin this morning is showing bullishness up $350 a coin. Ether is also up this morning by 0.28 or 0.27%. But we have other coins looking a bit negative. If we take a look at our precious metals in here today, well, gold is moving to the upside here today. Gold tried pretty hard yesterday to make a run for those highs up there, pushed back. Right now, gold futures are pretty much flat at this very second, but they've been up just slightly here today. Silver is also trying to make that attempt to move up and break through some resistance in the chart, but unfortunately still has a pretty nasty downtrend that it has to work on. Copper, platinum, and palladium are up, and boy, palladium had a great day yesterday. Just went like a rocket to the upside here, breaking through resistance all at once, pushing in. Any rest or pullback in here might set up an opportunity in palladium. So if we take a look at bonds this morning are, pretty good shape here. The 2-year bond is at 3.66%. The 10-year bond is at 3.67%, and the 30-year bond is at 3.99. Even the 3-month bond is ticked back 1/10 to 4.99% this morning, heading into this next round of inflation data. So, what does all that mean for the day? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at these charts and see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, we want to shake off this bias in our charts and look at the charts for what they are and not for what we want them to be. Well, first off, what an amazing move here yesterday. I had suggested that if we were to break down below this area here, watch for a potential gap fill down to this area, and by golly, that's what we got. We dropped pretty hard on the diamonds back into that area, and then the afternoon rally as big tech, and it was mostly big tech that gave the good solid rally to the upside, pushing us back up. So if the bulls can continue to find that inspiration here today, well, you can see we've got this resistance here in the chart we're going to have to deal with and maybe break through. If we break through that, then we're going to be looking up here, see if we can pop on through here. Of course, then we'll start progressing back up to these all-time highs in the chart. Now, remember, if the bears were to find inspiration today, well, I would suggest a pullback back to test this area of support. And then once again, if that were to fail, then we're probably going to start coming down through these levels, back down in this area of the chart, for that potential retest of the 50-day moving average that we broke yesterday and then bounced really hard up off of. So if those bears were to find inspiration, what we can say about the market right now is tremendous volatility and emotion in this market is high. If we take a look at our SPY, also a huge rally back yesterday after coming down here and retesting this low. Big popping move to the upside, breaking through this resistance in the chart. And one of the great things about this move yesterday is that we broke back above that 50-day moving average. We sliced right through it pretty quickly, pretty easily. But if you'll notice above, we've got some pretty good price resistance areas above. So if the bulls can continue to press, remember, we've got this resistance up here that we'll have to deal with, and then, of course, trying to push back up here where we just barely missed making a new record high in the SPY all the way up there. So keep an eye on that. And if the bears were to get inspiration today, well, first thing I would do is probably suggest a pullback and through that little support area in the chart that runs all the way back over here, as you can see. Pull back through there, and then we'd probably come back down into this area of the chart, and then of course breaking on down in this area, we could pick up any little support in here in that potential, and that would put us back below the 50-day moving average and would probably raise a little bit of concern. Our QQQ, although it had a tremendous run to the upside with big techs really leading the way, well, unfortunately, when we take a look here in this chart, we didn't make it to the 50-day moving average yet. So the first step is to break up through that 50-day moving average. Can we push through this little area right in here, break through that moving average 50-day, and then start pushing up toward this major resistance area in the chart, as you can see, price resistance area and the downtrend. That'll be the challenge here for today for the bulls. Can we push through that area? If they do push through that area, then we're going to start looking at areas in the chart all across in here. There's quite a little bit of price action resistance. This will be the major one up here to see if we can attack this new level to the upside. Then, of course, if we take a look at our IWM also recovered pretty nicely yesterday, but wasn't all that impressive. We still have this major resistance area here in the chart. So if the bulls can find that inspiration here today, then we need to break through this. And you can see in the pre-market, we're trying to do that, get back above this trend in the chart. We need to break back through there. We need to come up into some areas right in here. We're going to start running into those resistance areas in the chart pretty quickly. And remember, we're still have this downtrend here to deal with as well in the Russell, and IWM also continues to remain below its 50-day moving average. Let's take a look at our VIX. Our VIX yesterday ended up making a pretty nice pullback. We seem to suddenly, just with those tech giants, all of a sudden drop the fear out of the market. So you can see in here on the VIX, this fear breaking back down to this support area here in the chart. So good move for the bulls here on the day. If they can continue to make that bullish action occur, then we'll start looking at some of these levels as we move down, back down in the chart, and that would be suggesting that we have very little fear and might even be coming into more of a area of complacency if we get back down into this area of the chart. If we take a look at our T2122, our new high, new low ratio, one point in time yesterday at the lowest point, we were down here in the bullish reversal zone. And I suggested to the folks of RWO some ideas of some reversal trades back to the upside. And I had no idea it was going to rip like that. No one would have probably expected a rip back up like that, particularly with such small leadership in the market. But as we push back up, notice we're coming up here into that 50% area. Half the stocks moving up for a week. Remember, 4-week new high, new low ratio. So about half the stocks making new highs, half the stocks making new lows. So if we can continue to find that bullishness here today, then watch for that opportunity. We've opened up a pretty good opportunity for upside move for sure. And this relief rally that we had yesterday, zooming relief rally, has opened up about an equal amount of opportunity for that pushback by those bears. So keep an eye on that. T2108, this kind of illustrates how centric this rally was to the upside yesterday, because it was really centered in just the big tech giants was the majority of the move. And you can see that our T2108, the percentage of stocks above the 40-day, improved on the day because we were down here at the low part of the day, way down here. But notice that the T2108 percentage of stocks above the 40-day still declined just slightly yesterday. 39.92% of the stocks above their 40-day. That's a pretty tough look, because we get this impression that the market was just suddenly turned ragingly bullish. But it wasn't very many stocks that made the market rally like that. I do think it was probably kind of some of those last efforts by the tech giants to do some corporate buyback activity before they slip into that blackout period here. So kind of keep that in mind. And then our T2107 also improved on the day. But it came up on the day after being way down here. But this actually did show an improvement overall on the day, pushing up. But right around 50%, 50.5%. So it's tough to get real excited about that move when we got about half the stocks below the 200-day, half the stocks above the 200-day. It kind of gives you an idea of how limited that rally was yesterday. If you take a look at our T20 101, what is interesting as well is although we may have had that a good corporate buyback into the big techs, the breadth of the market did not follow. We didn't see that major breadth increase on that bullish wave. So kind of an interesting situation here for today. Be very, very careful and be watching again for those potential whipsaws and the volatility as we slide into this blackout period where about half the companies by the end of this week are going to be in their blackout period. All corporate buyback activity will stop, and then we have kind of that last 2 weeks of the market where we're coming into a Fed rate decision, and of course we've got a potential government shutdown at the 30th of the month, unless they can come to some kind of a budget agreement. So we've got that additional stress for the market to be concerned themselves with. If we take a look at our economic calendar here for today, well, our economic calendar, we've got a few things to be, whoops, second. There we go. I found the economic calendar. So on the economic calendar today, we've got jobless claims today we'll want to be watching. Right now, consensus is expecting a little bit of an increase to 230,000. I continue to believe one day we're going to get a big jump in this. Don't know when that might occur, and I kind of hope I'm wrong, but seeing the state of the economy, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Watch that closely here today. Obviously a market moving number. If we get the PPI, or not if, when we get the PPI, you'll want to take a look here. They're looking for the month over month to increase from a 0.1 to a 0.2, the year over year to decline to a 1.8, but then our ex-food and energy to go up from a 0.0 to 0.2. So your guess is as good as mine how the market will react to that, because we actually saw those CPI costs going up yesterday, and you saw the reaction. So watch that carefully. If we take a look at Friday, probably should finish up today. We've got some bond auctions in here, including a 30-year bond auction, and be worth paying attention to that Treasury statement and a Fed balance sheet. Right over here, we've got for Friday import-export prices and consumer sentiment. And I will want to let you guys know that I will do a morning market prep tomorrow, but due to a family death, I am going to have to, as soon as I get that morning prep out, I'm going to have to be on the road to get going where I need to go. So I will not be around the rest of the day. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me this quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube, and also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor, click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to continue to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who does that. I do truly appreciate it. Remember, when we talk about stocks that could be setting up, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence. Be very careful in what you do in this market because of the volatility, making sure that you are following your rules and your guidelines for trading. Never ever blindly follow anyone else's trade ideas. So a chart that I've kind of been keeping an eye on and have maybe I do have a little bit of a bias because I got a teeny tiny starter position on this. I'm keeping an eye on PayPal here. PayPal had this nice little run to the upside, pulling back to this support after that earnings move. any bullishness right in here, I would be watching for that opportunity along this trend to maybe pick up and add to that little tiny PayPal position. What I'm looking for is, this stock has just been pounded to the downside. Looking for that opportunity that could start moving back up. So keep an eye on that. Watch that one closely. Another stock I have a little bit of a bias in is Pfizer. I've been trading Pfizer as a longer term trade. Was starting to get a little bit worried right in here on this, but recently making that nice move here, popping back up. So if this can pop through this area here, remember this is a weekly chart. If that can push up through there, well, then we may have some upside potential here on that Pfizer. Again, it's just an extremely beat down stock, and looking for that opportunity that might move up. Here on the daily, you can see there's that big resistance area that it's trying to deal with. Can't say it's going to break through there, but there may be some opportunities in that. Take a look at GGAL. GGAL, yesterday I brought this up to members of RWO. Nice little resting consolidation, showing some bullishness in there. There's that pop out of the box pattern that I've been talking about. Well, last Monday in the morning, or in the public e-learning. By the way, I will try to get that video rendered and put on YouTube here by the end of the week here. So keeping an eye on this, GGAL, there's every reason to believe that can continue on higher. Very nice, organized, beautiful looking chart here overall. So keep an eye on that. Also taking a look, there's quite a few stocks out there that showing some amazing chart patterns and chart setups. Take a look at Lyft. Breaking this downtrend here in the chart, we've got a potential inverted head and shoulders pattern in here. Keep an eye on that. If it can push through that downtrend, I wouldn't chase it here. Push through, prove to hold. May even want to wait until it gets through that resistance up there. Push through, prove to hold, and then look for that next opportunity somewhere along the trend here for that upside move in Lyft. Take a look at TSM. TSM also working that break of the downtrend here in the chart. Same situation, break on through, prove you can hold, and then look for that opportunity to the upside in the chart. If we take a look at things like Levi Strauss. Levi Strauss has been in this really choppy, long consolidation here. If we can find some bullishness here to follow through and break through that area right there, I would look for that opportunity in Levi Strauss, because if we can pop through that candle right there, look at this big gap that could be filled in Levi Strauss. One to be paying attention to for sure. Taking a look, we had some really strong moves in IBM. I've been suggesting that IBM has been one of the strongest tech stocks here, and as tech rallied yesterday, it really pushed through to the upside. If we look at the weekly chart, every reason to believe at this point we could push up into that all-time high, and who knows, maybe even go higher in there in IBM. So keep a close eye on that. Looking pretty good overall. And then of course, when we look around other areas of the market, there are lots of potential trades to be paying attention to. As you guys know, I'm still watching this McDonald's chart that's been moving up nicely, breaking through resistance, moving to the upside. Take a look at TAP. TAP is an interesting chart in the fact that it shot up and it's giving it all back up here really quick. TAP may will set itself up as a potential short, rejecting this resistance in the chart. So watch that carefully for that possibility of a short trade there on that. Take a look at Spotify. Spotify making a nice move up yesterday. Still got a big resistance to deal with in that chart, but worth keeping an eye on. Of course, gold. Keep an eye on that gold. We have that opportunity that could push on through, break out to new record highs here in GLD. Watch that closely. So there's a few charts for you to look at today. I'm running behind, so I'm going to cut this video a little bit shorter than normal. I wish you guys all a fantastic day. Thank you so much Wish you great success in your trading. And I will see you back here first thing tomorrow morning with the Friday edition of the Morning Market Prep. But remember, I will be gone the rest of the day for that family funeral. Y'all take care, be safe, and as always, I wish you a wonderful day.